although I am by history a conservative, but I do believe that the values that Trump is currently representing are not mine.
That right there was on Fox, and that's the trend we're seeing across the entire country. Former Trump voters, people who are still Republican, former two-time Trump voters saying they can't vote for this guy. He's weird. He led an insurrection. He's a felon. He's been found liable for sexually assaulting a woman. He brags about sexually assaulting women. He's dresses up in garbage outfits and attacks the Puerto Rican community. He's just a disaster. So we've been sharing the stories of these former Trump voters and Republicans who are voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. It's a mass exodus. We've been talking about it, what now, together for 3.5 years. And I think this is the biggest story of the election, but we've been saying it for 3.5 years. People are throwing away their MAGA flags and they're moving towards normalcy. Let's just share some of the stories right here. Like this Republican Wisconsin voter and voters who were featured recently on CNN. Here, play this clip.
Was a direct threat against our democracy, trying to overthrow a legal election. That was it for me.
To win, the Harris coalition depends upon people like Bruce Need, raised in a Republican family, whose front yard makes his disdain for the former president clear. And Tiffany Kaler, a Republican who's casting a rare vote for the Democratic presidential candidate.
We used to be the party of women to government. We used to be the party of fiscal responsibility. I know there's a lot of Republicans voting for the vice president because we really want to close this chapter in history.
This is Forrest. He's a Republican and former Trump voter from Virginia who can never vote for him again. Here, play the clip.
Voting for the Harris-Walz ticket doesn't make me a Democrat. It makes me an American. It makes me somebody that is voting for my country. My name is Forrest. I live in the state of Virginia, and I'm a former Trump voter that will be voting for Harris. I'm a retired U.S. Army veteran. With some of the things that Trump said about the military and veterans, it's reached the point now after January 6th and some of the comments he said about anything in the country being more valuable than the Medal of Honor. Because you don't have to get wounded or shot or killed. That kind of stuff, it shouldn't need to be said. You have to be responsible for your words. I feel like Donald Trump is not. Anybody who says today that they're not voting for the man, they're voting for the policy. He was not able to execute his policy besides his tax cuts in the first term. But his second term will be much of the same. Voting for the Harris-Walz ticket doesn't make me a Democrat. It makes me an American. It makes me somebody that is voting for my country.
Here, Amanda Stewart Sprouse in Arizona says the following. Trump has a big problem in Arizona. Every day out in the East Valley suburbs, I'm talking to Republicans who are 100% done with Trump and Lake. Just got out of a class at Lifetime and the ladies were all chatting. Lifetime's a gym. And the common thread was, we're Republican and he's crazy. It needs to stop. The craziness just needs to stop. Go away. Chris Zeller also said that's exactly what the family is met with yesterday, said verbatim. We're Republicans and he's crazy. It needs to stop. Amanda goes, exactly. Frankly, with a week to go, more are feeling emboldened to say they aren't voting for this guy anymore. They aren't voting for Trump. It wasn't that way 4 weeks ago. I think the high Arizona early Republican vote may not be some huge success that Trump thinks it is, that these people are voting against him. DL Scott goes, I'm from Arizona. None of my Republican family and friends are voting for Trump. All are voting for Democrats for the first time. Chelsea Hemstreet goes, could we actually be on the verge of closing this chapter in American history and moving forward? This is my dream every night. Yeah, McCain Republicans haven't forgotten what Donald Trump and Kari Lake have been saying about them all this time. Let's take a look at some more of these stories. This is John. He's a former Trump voter from Wisconsin. Play the clip.
He just has no respect for the office that he holds, and I cannot vote for him. ever again. My name is John. I live in Watertown, Wisconsin. I've been a Republican all my life, and I voted for Trump in 2016, and that was the worst mistake of my life. I realized very quickly that he has no respect for the position that he holds, and as a veteran of the Navy, I took an oath to obey and defend the Constitution, which he doesn't seem to think is worth anything. He treats women terrible. He treats people terrible. He just has no respect for the office that he holds, and I cannot vote for him ever again.
Here's Zach, a former Trump voter, and here's why he's no longer voting for Donald Trump. He's from North Carolina. Let's play it.
They now are so passionately standing behind a man who has broken the law, it seems, without remorse, with no sense of stopping. I'm Zach. I'm from North Carolina. I'm a former Trump voter, and in 2024, I will not be voting for him. I absolutely blame Trump for the violence on January 6th. He stood on the eclipse and gave his rally knowing, we know now that he knew those people were armed and that they had violent intent. And then when they went there saying, I'm going to go with you, knowing he would not. This is the Bone Spurs guy, after all. He was not going to go with them, but would send them on his behalf. And then he sat and watched on Fox News. You cannot tell me the man who stays up until midnight tweeting about anything he sees was not actively tuned in. It's just funny that for a party that has so very often tied themselves and identified themselves with law and order and with our law enforcement agencies, that they now are so passionately standing behind a man who has already faced convictions and will most likely face more convictions for much more serious matters and has broken the law, it seems, without remorse, with no sense of stopping. In 2024, in November, I will absolutely be supporting Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They have the vision not only to defeat Trump, which is the most important thing. Every time I get asked, it's always number one, protecting our democracy. We have to restore integrity to our institutions.
And again, as I'm sharing these stories with you, just think, Donald Trump posted this. Elizabeth Lynn Cheney is guilty of treason. Retruth if you want televised military tribunals. He's reposting that. Liz Cheney's a conservative. Liz Cheney's a lifelong Republican who just says, look, I support democracy. Trump is talking about military tribunals. Then in Arizona, he's talking about putting a rifle in her face with 9 barrels shooting at her. Remember, this is what he said. Let's play it.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained in her face.
If there's anything I've learned in my career, it's that if someone is given an opportunity, their hard work can pay off. But as with anything in business, some companies do things the right way and some, don't. That's why I'm excited to partner with a brand that is doing things the right way and is living up to the true American spirit. And they're called American Giant. While many companies send jobs overseas, American Giant is pushing back. They make high-quality clothing and activewear right here in the USA. I'm talking about everything from sweatshirts and jeans to jackets and dresses. It's all made with care right here at home. I've been wearing American Giant for a bit now, and the quality is unbeatable. The fabric feels amazing, and the durability, well, I'm still wearing the same sweatshirt I got months ago, and it's just getting softer with time. They really do obsess over every detail, and you could tell that it's made to last. And my favorite part, it's more than just clothes. It's about supporting local communities and American workers. Now, if you're looking for something incredibly comfortable and durable, check out their French Terry collection from joggers to sweatshirts. It's perfect for that cozy yet put together look. I personally love their classic full zip hoodie. It's the piece that put them on the map. With custom heavyweight fleece and side panels for mobility, this hoodie is built to last. I reach for it whether I'm out for a casual day or just lounging at home. When you buy American Giant, you're not just getting high quality clothes, you're creating jobs in towns that rely on them. And right now, you can get 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com when you use the code Meidas at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant with code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S. Support local jobs, get yourself some incredible clothes, and feel great about what you're wearing. Thanks to American Giant for sponsoring this show.
So I should mention that the stories that I'm sharing with you come from Republican Voters Against Trump. They're a great organization and you should support them. They also did this billboard campaign right here, the Republican Voters Against Trump, also known as Republican Accountability PAC. There's stories like this. Lori from Michigan. I've shared some of these other stories with you earlier in the week. I'm a former Trump voter. I love the Constitution. I'm voting for Harris. I'm a former Trump voter. I'm a patriot. My name is Mike from Pennsylvania. I'm voting for Harris. I'm a former Trump voter. I'm a Republican. I won't vote for Trump. Robert from Pennsylvania. Steve from Wisconsin. I'm a former Trump voter. I'm a conservative. I won't vote for Donald Trump. This is powerful stuff right here. Here are some profound words at a University of Michigan PBS forum for Haley voters against Donald Trump. Here is a member of the Haley voters for Vice President Kamala Harris. Actually, it's called Haley voters for Harris. They're against Trump, but they're for Harris. This is Brett Stevens, a conservative New York Times columnist, conservative writer. I mean, as conservative as you get. Worked for the Wall Street Journal, I think the Jerusalem Post, very conservative guy. Here's what he has to say about why he's supporting Vice President Kamala Harris and why Donald Trump is not actually conservative. Here, play the clip.
This actually goes to something the gentleman whose club I could belong to, Nikki Haley voters for Kamala. What I worry about in this election is this. In every society, there is going to be a conservative movement. Even in Mao's China, there was a conservative faction, you name it. And there's an important question about whether that is going to be a healthy conservative movement that believes ultimately in the liberal order, liberal in the broadest sense, or one that fundamentally rejects it, whose conservatism is really a form of blood and soil illiberalism. And, what made up my mind in this election was my profound fear that we are moving in a direction in which we no longer have a conservative party in this country that still believes in the basic tenets of a liberal constitutional order. And that frightens me. And when you marry that to a weirdly charismatic leader, and B, a media apparatus that is set up to support him and deify him no matter what he says, you are in a zone of trouble. And that's what concerns me these days.
I want to share this with you too. This is former Staten Island Representative Susan Molinari. She says her husband and her, former Representative Bill Paxton, Republican members of Congress, both Republican members of Congress, why they're supporting Vice President Kamala Harris. She gives an incredible speech here. She's like, look, as a conservative woman, how could I vote for this guy, Trump? I mean, Vice President Kamala Harris represents me. Here, play this clip.
So I'm married to another former member of Congress, Bill Paxton, who during his term, during 1990 to 2000, was always considered the most conservative member of Congress. Okay. You don't all have to agree with that part. But he has never voted for a Democrat in his entire life until this election. Not only did he vote for Kamala Harris, he became a member of the Republicans for Harris. So that's how serious some of us in the Republican Party are taking this challenge. As a Republican female, I was very proud when Ronald Reagan appointed the first female to the Supreme Court. I was proud when he started the daycare centers for federal workers. I was proud when George H.W. Bush started the Women's Health Initiative, which guaranteed that women would be a part of pharmaceutical trials. What we see now is not representative of the prior leaders of the Republican Party. So let's just talk for a few seconds because I have to. It's our therapy session right here. Let's talk about Trump's position on women. Here's what we know. Trump's abortion ban will have our daughters have less rights than their mothers. Despite what he says in certain areas, he brags about appointing the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe versus Wade. He takes this so seriously, joke, that he calls himself the father of IVF. On what planet? But that's how seriously he takes those concerns that keep families and women up at night. He's of course guilty of sexual assault. He denies every woman's charge against him, though they're tallying up day by day. He talks about women that are dumb, stupid, communist. And then he says right here that Mark Robinson is MLK on steroids. Really? The man who said women only need abortions because they can't keep their skirts down? Come on, people. These are no friends of women and the men that love them.
Here's Michael, a former Trump voter from Pennsylvania. Let's play this clip.
I think he is dangerous to the world. I believe Donald Trump is dangerous to NATO and all our allies across the pond. I'm Michael. I live in Pennsylvania, and I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. I believe Donald Trump is a complete narcissist. He prevents legislation to further his own campaign. He claims to be intelligent, yet speaks like a sixth grader. Total disdain for the military. Says he loves the military, but yet makes very bad comments about the military. The last thing is just how he treats women horribly. Donald Trump only talks about retribution. Anybody within either party that says anything negative to him, they're either an idiot, they're stupid, and makes no intelligent comments, just keeps going after people. I think he is dangerous to the world. I believe Donald Trump is dangerous to NATO and all our allies across the pond. I believe Paris brings new energy to the Democratic ticket. I liked her choice for vice president, the governor from Minnesota. I believe she is intelligent. She will do well for the country. Do I believe in everything she says? No, but I don't believe any politician 100%. But I think she's smart, intelligent, will reach across the aisle to get things done as president.
And then look, just take a look at Donald Trump over the past day, dressed up like a garbage man. I mean, look, that's not a president. That's someone who should be in an insane asylum. Here's Don Jr. dressed up as like garbage. There's the story from the Daily Beast about Donald Trump hanging out with Epstein, which we knew about before. We told all these stories. Epstein found women from Mar-a-Lago to traffic, like Virginia Giuffre. We know these stories. But the new one was, it's alleged from Michael Wolff, the author. He says that it's what he says. Trump denies it. But he says that Epstein showed off photos of Donald Trump with topless young girls sitting in his lap. And also there was that audio recording of Jeffrey Epstein. Like who wants any of this stuff right here? Let me show you this. This is Governor Tim Walz, Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate. And here he talks about we've got independents and Republicans coming over to this campaign. Play this clip.
Donald Trump, the guy is nearly 80 years old. At some point, and he says he went to the Wharton School. At some point in time, somebody should have taught him how tariffs work, because he has made it clear that he doesn't think, he says China will pay these tariffs. And your answer is, just like Mexico paid for the wall, same thing. No. What happens when you slap a tariff on us, the CEOs of Black & Decker, Columbia, and other companies have told us, if you slap on this tariff, it will add 20% to the cost, which is about $4,000 for every middle-class family. That's what Donald Trump's talking about, everything you buy. Now, look, you've seen it out there. We've got independents and Republicans coming over to this campaign. People who are adhering to the old Republican Party's values that added to this country. Yes. That's not Donald Trump. No. When they talk about freedom, we know what we mean when we talk about freedom. When they talk about freedom, he means government should be free to be in your exam room, to be in your bedroom, to be, as Genevieve said, in her library telling us what we should read. That goes back to the golden rule some of you heard me talk about. Mind your own damn business and we will be better off. We will be better off. We don't need that.
And here's Governor Walz again talking about how Donald Trump keeps giving interviews saying he's not weird. If you have to explain it, you're probably very weird. Here, play this clip.
Donald did an interview a while back. It was like a 30-minute interview. And in that 30-minute interview, 11 times he volunteered and told the person why he wasn't weird. My observation in life is if you're explaining to people why you're not weird, you very well could be. But look, it's weird to be concerned with other people's bedrooms. It's weird to try and tell other people how their health care should be done. It's weird to try and make a case about they know what's best for you to read, watch, or whatever. When Kamala and I talk about freedom, we mean you should be free to make those decisions, not politicians. That's it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.